Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today, Tyler, is the next installment in our wonderful conference realignment series of episodes. Last week, we had my wonderful stepdad, Raul, come on, talk about a graphic that we saw on College Football Reddit. Today, Tyler, we are going all out. Galaxy Brain, activate your third eye. We're completely realigning, at the very least, the Power 5 conferences.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited. It won't be quite as wild as the Power 7 and the
and the
three
group of
from
three.
last week.
I don't think it'll be that.
Exciting to have something a little different.
Exactly. But first, Tyler, let's go ahead and kick the show off like we always do with quick hits. Last week, we had to talk about Dabo Swinney. This week, we got to talk about Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy's been in some fire over the course of this past week. Let's start off with what happened on Monday, Tyler. On Monday, Chuba, we decided how to pronounce his name.
It's Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba, thank you very much.
I only remember this because the more repeatable, memeable, make funnable version of the name would be Chuba Hubbard. Because it would rhyme.
Yeah.
Or similar thing, but it's not. I always remember being like, if they just added another B, like. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard.
Okay, so Chuba Hubbard quote tweeted a tweet that was making the rounds on Monday, and it was a picture of Mike Gundy and what I believe to be his two sons. They went on a fishing trip, and they take a picture of the fish that they caught, and in the picture, Mike Gundy is wearing an OAN shirt, and for those unaware, OAN is One America News Network. It is... I think a gentle way of putting it is it's a right-wing media channel, but not in the stereotypical sense that you would say Fox is a right-wing media channel. Fox, at the very least, gives you some
Fox is a news network.
Yeah, Fox is a news network.
And they slant their news coverage a certain way, but OAN isn't really a news network. It is I would say an opinion piece network.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's an opinion piece network that tends to skew towards ultra-conservative. That, in the wake of the whole Black Lives Matter movement, in the wake of players regaining their sense of authority and regaining their sense of having a voice, Chuba Hubbard quote tweeted and said, "I'm not going to be participating. This is disrespectful. This completely undermines everything we work for. I am not going to be participating in any Oklahoma State football activity until change is made." And when a potential Heisman winning running back, a potential first-round draft pick, and the star of your football team says those things out loud on Twitter and then gets backed up by different positions of the same team. So, for example, the entire offensive line came out and said, we are with Chuba. And former players, just such as Justice Hill, came out and said, yeah, no, there's a problem in there, a problem culture in that locker room, in that program. They went full disaster mode, essentially. They went out, and Mike Gundy and Hubbard went and did a video, which was strange because Mike Gundy didn't apologize for anything, and Chuba apologized for the way he went about things, which didn't really seem like he needed to apologize.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit of a goalpost moving kind of thing. Because I think the whole thing about it was that, from what I understand from reading up a little bit about it, is that Mike Gundy and Chuba had to kind of come to an agreement that it was like, well, we probably should have just done this man-to-man. You should have come to me about this. Which I get, I also push back on, because, I mean, exposing it to everyone else gives it a lot more power.
Right.
Allows truth. I mean, it's happened now. We all know about it. So
it's the whole Kaepernick conversation of what is a good way to, in Kaepernick's case, protest, and in Chuba's case, bring attention to something that he wants to bring attention to. Are you really going to make a difference if you just come and talk to Coach Gundy?
So there's no pressure on Mike Gundy.
Right, exactly. There's no public pressure. There's no pressure on him at all. And who knows, maybe Chuba did say these things before and just because there was no pressure on anything, nothing really got done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see that.
And that's a thing that keeps getting brought up by a lot of personalities. Is that, like, if wearing, like, I don't agree with it, but it's an interesting thing that wearing a shirt of a news outlet
Mm-hmm.
is typically not what you think of as the tipping point.
Right.
For these kind of things, which makes you think what else has been going on at Oklahoma State behind the scenes that has kind of led to the players not feeling quite right about it.
Right. I mean, so I saw someone on Twitter say that, like, I think it was Bomani Jones, said, like, if you think that this is solely about a t-shirt, you're wrong and you're not paying attention, because there has to have been something that went on in the Oklahoma State locker room, in that facility, that the players, not just Chuba, but apparently multiple players and former players, are coming out and saying needs to change. So that's one part of what happened with Gundy. Then later on, Mike Gundy came out, and it was revealed that in 1989, Mike Gundy, apparently he's being accused of using a racial slur in a 1989 game against Colorado. You remember Colorado was a member of the Big Eight at the time, and so this was a conference game. Alfred Williams was a former star linebacker there, and he's calling for an apology from Mike Gundy, saying that he called the N-word in 1989. He ended up talking about it, and he said that he hopes he finds, quote, some growth, and wants to see some growth, and that if Gundy... the ultimate flex. If Gundy denies it, that he says that he has some upwards of 20 players to back him up from what happened on that exact moment. He says, quote, if he denies that he said that, I have at least 20 people who will vouch for what happened that day, close quote. A good look in what's going on. And to this up to this moment, Tyler, we're recording this on Saturday, June 20th. The news of this story came out on the 18th, on Thursday. Nothing has been come out from the Gundy camp from Oklahoma State about this specific incident. So,
interesting. Yeah. I mean, they're probably trying to figure out right now what is the correct course of action to own up to it. In their eyes, is the correct course of action to own up to it and apologize, or to skirt around it. Which, in reality and morality, the correct thing is to own up to it and apologize and move forward. But don't know if they're going to do that. This is interesting. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if Mike Gundy shows some signs, like apologizes, looks like he means it, which has been a problem for him lately, and put some real growth towards it from this, I can believe that this is something that happened when he was in college in 1989. And that's just, there's a semblance of growth from that, because it was, 20 plus years ago. But we need to see those
actions. And if
we have to see those signs.
What's coming out of Oklahoma State, where apparently players have been told that they're thugs and that they'll take them back to the hood if they don't follow these reports. These are things that are coming out from current and former players. Like, if that stuff is true, then that doesn't really show a pattern of change, does it, from 1989? So, no. It's very interesting. I know odds makers are going full, what are the odds? Will Mike Gundy get fired? I don't know that. It's very difficult. That's like firing... Mike Gundy is the Steve Spurrier of Oklahoma State. Like, he's a big guy, has a lot of power in Stillwater.
Yeah, it's I just don't really find it, like, feasible that he's going to get fired over, like, a word he said 20 years ago, or wearing a t-shirt.
And I don't think that's the reason he's fired. I feel like those will be used as reasons.
Part of it. Like,
those will be used as part of the case, and the case being this coach is not fit to lead this group of men. The qualities that this coach is showing us recently are telling us that he is unfit to lead these men.
And that will be, if Oklahoma State does that, that will be a very brave thing for them to do. and I'll applaud them for the guts to do it. It's very interesting. I mean, you'd obviously rather that Mike Gundy learns from this and that positive change comes from this. But we're just going to have to see if that happens. This is the same coach who is just kind of the most stubborn person. Like, he's a very, I don't give a damn what anyone else thinks about me and my football team.
Yeah, but he should.
We love that, but also that's not the best when people are trying to call you out to make it better.
That works when it's maybe this offense isn't the right thing to run. It's not, hey, you can't exude racist qualities and you're kind of showing us that you have racist tendencies. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. It's a very interesting situation to monitor.
And we'll have to keep our eyes glued to that, Tyler. Let's head a little bit south. Let's head down to Texas, where players are also using their voices and their abilities. The Texas football players have announced that they will not be doing any Texas-sponsored boosted events or be hosting any recruits on their recruiting trips to help them recruiting in the players unless they change the name of a building on campus that has racial insensitive history. Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte, he met with the football team and says that he had, quote, tremendous dialogue on the topic of diversity. Jawan Mitchell was the junior linebacker that kind of spearheaded this whole conversation, and he said on Twitter that he does not feel comfortable representing the University of Texas. And that's a big statement, especially, with things that are going on in this country. And that's all the news that we have, essentially, that they are having meetings and trying to move forward. The athletes have requested the removal of the Eyes of Texas as a school song. They've requested changes to names of campus buildings, and they want to make it a more inclusive community for black members of our society. This is a great thing, in my opinion. This is players using their power for the right thing.
I love it because not only are they using their power, but they have a list of demands. They have we want these concrete things, because an easy thing for an administration to do when somebody just says that they want change is to do one or two things that may look like a lot but might not be, and then they can just say, well, we changed for you, so we met your but now these Texas players have put out demands and they are asking for specific things, and that's good because the administration is going to have to respond to that, and they'll be able to say that we've always had our intentions clear from the beginning. We want this, and this changed, and I wish them luck, because it's a very powerful and scary thing to be able to speak up against your own administration, especially because the thing with all these college football players is that also becomes part of the reason that sometimes these cultures kind of get like this is that when you're in the program, you don't have any power until recently with social media. But until you're in the program, you don't really have any power, because if you try and confront a coach or an administration about stuff, they can just take away your scholarship. Yeah, if it's really that bad. And then by the time you're out, do you want to go back and fix things or speak out about things, or do you want to just move on with your life?
Yeah, and that's different for each person. Not everyone is built to be the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King type person. We all make our contributions in a different way. But yeah, you're right. And I feel like one of the things that is helping these players now is the fact that they have a coach that's going to support them. Tom Herman has come out, and Tom Herman has probably been the example of how a college football coach should handle this situation and the current racial climate in our country. He's just flat out said it. White people have been wrong for a long time in this country, and I want to do everything to make my black players feel like they are supported, and not just talk but also action. I saw on Twitter a couple weeks ago, or last week, someone said, we are listening and we hear you is the brand new Our Thoughts and Prayers Are With You, where all talk but no action. But Tom Herman's about that action. There are people across the country, there are coaches and there are people at universities across the country that are about taking action. Will Muschamp registered his entire team to vote. I'm not saying that is oh my God, Will Muschamp is is the white savior, but like at the very least, that comes a long way from when he had that press conference
Yeah.
in 2016 and said, "Oh, there's an election today. I didn't know that. We're thinking about Florida." Like, that's a long way.
It's a very that's growth.
Exactly,
Like,
that's growth, and it's incremental growth, and that's what we're asking for. That's what we're looking at. So I applaud Tom Herman for being on his side with his players, and we hope that from these meetings, actual change comes, and that these Texas players' demands are met. Because what they're demanding is to change the name of a building to honor the first African American student on campus at the University of Texas. Like, that should be a no-brainer.
That should not be a hard thing to do.
No, that's not something that is a bad. That's not a controversial.
You should be rushing to make that change.
Yeah,
like,
and you should have been.
That's
years
awesome.
ago.
Yeah.
So that's that on the social justice side of Texas. Tyler, let's talk about the Corona side of Texas.
Oh yeah, that's still happening.
There have been a number of tests that have gone around across the country, and we're getting numbers. We had the alleged reporting in Alabama that has neither been confirmed nor denied. We've had schools in the Northwest, all that stuff. Texas, turns out that 13 of their football players have tested positive for coronavirus. That also ties in with the 23 Clemson football players that have tested positive for coronavirus. This is, 23 players.
23.
The report came out late last night. This is seen more in southern states.
Yeah.
It tends to be states that have been loosening their restrictions. I currently am in Florida, so that's a little bit of concern. You have been in Florida this whole time, but it's a little bit different than Virginia, where I have been. And
what's culture shock like?
Culture shock like? Culturally, I felt I slipped right back in, like home.
Oh
is
yeah,
home.
but like,
home is home. But
oh yeah,
but yeah, no, it seems a lot more like things are back to normal when they're 100,000% not normal, and it seems like not so much the people that I talk to, my friends, my family members. Most of my family members are taking it very, very seriously. It's a lot of people that I'm like, I go to Publix to grab something and I wear a mask and I sanitize in the car before I get out. I sanitize when I come back from the car, and I just see people go in their flip flops and no mask and just, carrying on like it's it's June 2018 and not June 2020.
Yep.
So, and
that's just a testament to why some more southern states are being like this.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's not only is it a general attitude thing. That's also the restrictions have actually been lax here.
Yeah. Exactly. But the reason that the attitude has been lax is because the restrictions have been lax.
Yeah. It's all connected, and that bleeds into the football teams.
Exactly.
And I feel very confident that college football will still do whatever it wants this fall.
I've given up on are we going to have a college football season? Because I know we are going to have a college football season, whether it's the right thing to do or not. I've given up on trying to...
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. We're having a football season. It's a matter of how we have it, how many games, and how serious these universities and conferences and the NCAA are going to be about it. I saw something recently that Dr. Fauci, the doctor everyone should be listening to, Dr. Fauci, it came out and said that if we have football this fall, it has to be in a bubble format the way that the NBA is planning on doing it, the way the MLS is planning on doing it. It has to be like that in order for it to happen safely. And do you think that we're going to have universities bubbling up their players and their students and stuff?
Absolutely not.
It's not.
I could believe that the NFL would do it, but there's no way.
Well, because the NFL is technically above the table with taxes paying their players. Like, what happens if
they're all college students.
Exactly.
You can't be like, all right, we're all gonna have all of our games in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl, right at the Mercedes-Benz. We're gonna do all of our college football games there for the SEC. Like, each conference will do a thing. Be like, so what about all the players from Kentucky and Tennessee and hell, even Georgia? It's like 90 miles away. Like, and Florida. I'm like, are they just not gonna have a fall semester? Like, they are students.
And if exactly, like, the NCAA prides himself on saying, oh, these are amateurs, they are student athletes. Like, we all know they're not, but there's no way that you can tell me that is going to be a reasonable thing to do. There's no way you can tell me that college football this fall is going to be safe. It won't. It won't be safe. It will not be safe. More than likely, there's going to be a second wave. And above that, I just feel like these teams are going to be just, like, cut in half. You look at this Clemson team, 23 players have tested positive.
23 players!
That means that 23 players have to be isolated and removed from everyone else and not practicing with the team and not participating in anything in person. What happened? Like, we talked about this last week. What happens if that happens week 3? You miss week 4 and week 5?
What if your quarterback room gets it? You don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. What if your offensive line
you're
group...
You're just gonna miss him for 2 weeks.
Even worse, you can run a wildcat. What if your offensive line group gets it?
Oh, yeah, what are you gonna do? Put fullbacks in? Oh, wait. Hold on.
Calm down, relax, Tyler. Relax. No, but I think this is just another testament as to how lax and how carefree people are treating others' health.
Hopefully, players testing positive for COVID-19 now, before games have even started, will change some things.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll have to see. We'll have to keep it monitored on that, and we just hope that people in charge do the right thing and shut things down when they need to shut down and implement the measures. But at the same time, we just need everyone to follow it. Like, wear your mask. Like, every time I leave this house to go to Publix or to pick up some food or whatever, I wear a mask every single time. It's that simple. Yep. I wash my hands before I leave, wash my hands when I come back, sanitize in the car, do all those things. You can never be overly cautious in this case. So that's that on that for now. There's so many quick hits, Tyler. We got to push through these last few ones.
Yeah.
Turns out the NCAA and the SEC have said that no championship events will take place in Mississippi unless the state of Mississippi changes their state flag. Now, part of this to me is lip service because I can't think of a single SEC NCAA championship event.
What championship event gets held in the state of Mississippi? Like,
none.
None
of them do. This is a wonderful gesture and a wonderful thing to say, but it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, like, I remember the Mississippi State AD, I think, on Twitter said that, like, we haven't flown the state flag on our campus in years. Like, which, I don't know if that's true. I've never been to Starkville. I don't know either. Yeah. But
we'll have to ask Dan.
For those that don't know, the Mississippi State flag is got a couple. It has a Confederate symbol on it.
It's basically the Confederate flag.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same state that was playing the South Will Rise Again until the mid 2000s in one of their stadiums.
Exactly.
It was Ole Miss, and the Ole Miss team that's named the Rebels for
Yeah, exactly.
Not the ones from Star Wars.
Let me see. Mississippi has its I don't want to say issues. No, I will say issues. It's issues with...
Yes, just say it.
Getting rid of that toxic Southern identity. I don't want to say Southern identity is toxic, not as a whole. No. You should be proud to be where you're from. You should be proud to be from the South, as we are proud to be from Florida. The problem is when your pride is tied up with the Confederacy and racism and slavery. That's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes in.
Something that, yeah.
So yes. I guess good on you, NCAA and SEC, for taking a stand that you've been taking for literally forever since you've never put a championship event in Mississippi. But it's good raising awareness for the...
I hope something happens from it.
Yeah, but at least raising awareness of the fact for people that don't really see it on an everyday basis that the Mississippi State flag, not the best of the flags. No. Tyler, moving a little bit closer to home. Our chant, Gator Bait, dun 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 dun, Gator Bait, that chant. We will no longer be performing that chant due to its racist history. Now, this is something that I did not know of.
Straight up didn't know about it either.
Until the press release came from the University of Florida. And it was among a bunch of things that the university is planning to do, what they're calling the Decade of Progress, the Decade of Change, which is a great thing that over the course of the next decade, they're going to be implementing things to push forward essentially what I'm calling the third wave of civil rights. First wave was 1860s slavery,
emancipation.
Second wave was Martin Luther King, Malcolm
movement.
X, civil rights movement in the 60s. This is looking like it's the third wave of the civil rights. Hopefully the last one where we get complete civil rights, equal rights.
Yeah,
but
hopefully.
It turns out that gator bait itself, the origin is white gator trappers, right? White gator trappers would use baby black boys as bait to lure out alligators.
Yeah.
And
it's on like postcards from the 1800s. Like
it's on postcard from the 1800s. It's in articles. There's pictures.
We want to clarify that to my knowledge from reading it, like the gator bait chant was not directly created because of these things.
Correct.
However, it's one of those things, they're created separately, but it's just hard to disconnect the two. The weird thing is that the kind of odd thing is that the chant as we know it was created by black man Lawrence Wright, one of our players in the 90s.
Yeah.
Who, but at the same time, like, in that regard, it is innocent, but it is just a chant. Like, and if it makes people think of a very terrible thing at a time in our history to not be proud, that I have no problem with them taking it away. I mean,
listen,
it's not like asking them to change the mascot away from an alligator, which I'd be like, it's an alligator. Like,
yeah, that it is what it is.
Yeah.
But like Richard Johnson, friends of the pod, Richard Johnson, come on the pod, Richard Johnson, we love you.
Please.
He tweeted, he was like, Florida created a wonderful tradition with Tom Petty's Won't Back Down out of thin air because a person that was born in the same city that the university is located died, and we created a beautiful tradition out of thin air. We can come up with a new chant. We can figure something else out. I'm not worried about it.
In 5 years, no, it won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
I joke about it because it's funny. People have been joking about how we got moved back. You suck. Back.
Thank the Lord we did. But continue.
But it's one of those funny things that, like, Move Back You Suck was discontinued my sophomore year. I think your junior year.
Yes, I didn't get to hear it again. Mine was my first 2 years I heard it, and I said it my junior year. A group of us in a game, the first game back, we like chanted it when there was a flag, and we were all concerned, like, why didn't the band play Move Back You Suck? And then it wasn't until after the game that we found out that a bunch of boosters didn't like it, and so therefore they took it away. Yeah,
well, like, and if they had never taken it back, then in 5 years after that, when there's like 1% of the student population was there 5 years ago, no one will care. Like,
no one will care
because it won't be what they know, and that's why it's just a chant. It seems innocent enough, but at the same time, it's connected to something very terrible. And who are we to say if it makes them think of a terrible thing? I don't want it associated with my school. So
yeah, no, neither do I. And taking a poll just amongst my friends, one of my friends knew the actual history, and the rest of us were like, "Oh, we just found out." Like, it's not a common knowledge thing that people would think it is. But so no more gator bait, and we are perfectly fine with that because we would rather not invoke those memories of the origin of it. So although I think it is big to point out that I think it's Lawrence Cager, right?
Lawrence Wright.
I'm so sorry. Lawrence Wright is kind of fighting this decision.
Yeah.
He said that he created the chant and he wants it to be done.
Which I get, like, because when he created it, he created the "if you're not a gator, you must be gator bait." Right. And then it became like a chant and a song after that. The term gator bait had been used before, but as we know it now, Lawrence Wright created that. And I get it. So I think more than anything, he's just mad they didn't ask him. Like,
yeah, they didn't ask his opinion. And I saw something where it was like, so are we not going to use that championship parade footage where he says, "If you're not a gator, you're gator bait"? Is that gone from the history? No, I don't think it's gone from the history. I just think we won't use the chant anymore, and that's okay. Like, we'll come up with something. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Another school that's doing the same, taking away chants and songs and stuff, it's the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
Our rival to the north. They have decided that the band will no longer play Terrace theme at the end of games. Terrace themes, for those of you who don't know, is the theme from Gone with the Wind, a very, very Civil War. The South was better the South was better at this point in time movie. A great film if you have not seen it, but you have to keep in
understanding
mind,
historical context.
understand the historical context. So when you use Terrace theme, you're essentially invoking. It's like Ole Miss playing The South Will Rise Again. It's invoking those feelings from that era. And Georgia did this right, Tyler, because the song they're replacing Terrace theme with is Georgia on My Mind, which to me is a beautiful song that every Georgian should be proud of. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's the best. I think it'll be wonderful that they'll be playing Georgia on My Mind after games. I fully support, and I just think it's a better song.
I agree.
So,
and again, we're not Georgia fans, so I'm not like connected to this at all. But
right, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just a chant, and change it in 5 years. No one's gonna care if they did care.
If they did, right?
That's my thing.
But I think if you are mad about Terrace theme, like, if I was mad about Terrace theme, I'd be like, "What? I love Terrace theme," and then I hear, "Oh, Georgia My Mind's replacing it." Okay.
Well, it's not terrible. Like,
yeah,
it could be worse. Like, yeah.
Could be worse. Worse. So good on them. Good on Florida. Good on the NCAA and the SEC and all those changes. Last thing, Tyler, before we get into our
other changes.
Tyler, the most important news of the decade has just dropped.
Yes.
The Belk Bowl, as we know, is no longer the Belk Bowl. It has been... Moment of silence. All right, moving on. It has been replaced by the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. Tyler, I don't know what is more Southern. I don't know what is more Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know. All I say is we need to keep the Belk Bowl PR team and social media team, and they need to transfer over to the Duke Mayonnaise Bowl.
Yeah, I hope they
because
oh my god,
the jokes, Tyler. The
Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. A bowl of mayonnaise.
What if Duke plays in this game?
What if Duke wins the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl? What if Duke loses the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl? Be like, you lost your own mayonnaise bowl.
He'll be the
jokes, man. Point. The jokes. Oh my
Tyler,
god.
I petition to have every band member from both schools bring out a jar of mayonnaise and just say, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" Like, there should be no actual musical instruments at this bowl game.
Oh my god.
It should be jars of mayonnaise and everyone as Patrick. That should be the halftime show.
Oh my god, yes.
Conductor, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Oh.
And that's the halftime show.
They should pay us for that.
They should. Drop a bag. SidelineJudgment@gmail.com. You know where to find us.
God. Yeah, I just hope that the Twitter account doesn't change. Like...
Yeah, never change, please.
Never
Especially
change,
now that
it'll
it's
be
the Mayonnaise
fine.
Bowl.
Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. I can't
so
believe it.
So what's the nickname here? We gonna call it the Mayo Bowl?
I think so.
The Duke's Bowl? The Mayo Bowl, right?
The DMB.
The DMB.
I hate it already.
Oh my gosh, Tyler, let's just go on to the meat and potatoes of the show.
Let's just move on.
Let's take that mayo, put it on a turkey sandwich, and call it a day. Conference realignment, Tyler.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not even going to talk. You're going to go first. Give us your reasoning, your justification, your teams. Take it away, my guy.
Okay. So we'll just... I only really did the power conferences, like, write down. And, I mean, I was thinking about doing a whole, like, restructuring everything. But I wanted to keep it more in the vein of realism. I'm going to just be completely honest with you. I haven't made a single change to the Pac-12.
Really?
No, because I couldn't. So I did this very geographically oriented, and I was having a hard time finding schools that I felt could move to the Pac-12. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
I was thinking about it because I was thinking about replacing one of the Arizona schools or Colorado, moving Colorado back to the Big 12, and replacing it with something else. But like replacing Colorado with Texas Tech, which was a very weird, but would give. All right, live on the pod change. I'm going to change Colorado to Texas Tech because that would give the Pac-12 a foothold in Texas for recruiting somehow. Because I mean, Texas Tech's not really much, but like, and I move Colorado back to the Big 12, which makes sense.
Well, we saw how Kevin Sumlin went at his time at A&M recruited kind of the Arizona, New Mexico area, which is also the same Pac-12 kind of recruiting footprint. So we've seen that is a fertile recruiting ground, and players can go play a little bit east from there.
Yeah. In the ACC,
give it to me.
Pretty much mostly the same, except for the South Carolina Gamecocks have moved over from the SEC. And I have moved the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets over to the SEC.
Okay.
This is a personal thing. This is just a personal thing. But
Tyler, without giving away too much of mine, I've done the same thing.
Yes.
So because you want that Clemson South Carolina rivalry.
Yeah.
And you want that Georgia Tech rivalry. I feel you.
Yeah.
I see you, Tyler.
I think you're in Atlanta. I think the SEC values that more than being in, a state that's dominated by Clemson right now.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, even South Carolina at their peak, they're only winning their division.
Right.
Maybe. And that requires Georgia and Florida to be down. And like the last time they did that, Georgia and Florida were both down and they had Steve Spurrier. So
the stars really aligned.
It might be better for them, all things considered, to move to the ACC just for their own ceiling. All right, so these next couple conferences is where things started to change a little bit.
Okay.
The one with the most movement, the Big 12.
Okay.
I am added Colorado from the Pac-12. From the Big 10, I added Nebraska. Okay. Nebraska's going back to the Big 12. And from the SEC, I added Texas A&M and Arkansas.
You put Arkansas.
I put Arkansas in.
Okay.
And that brings me to kind of one of my favorite things. Additionally, in the Big 10, it's pretty much mostly the same, except for I added Missouri from the SEC.
Well done.
I brought Missouri over to the Big 10. And my final change that I'm...
So wait, hold on one second before you go. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Missouri and Arkansas have a rivalry.
Yes, but...
It's like a manufactured rivalry now that they're in the SEC.
Yeah, it wasn't...
So you said forget that.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's more so I was looking at kind of geography, and Arkansas's in as much of the same situation as South Carolina. Arkansas has a great history, but, I mean, Arkansas... To win the SEC now, Arkansas would have to recruit miles better than what they're doing for years. Require LSU, Alabama, and Auburn to all be down and have a great head coach. So, and in today's age, I don't know how realistic that is. And I feel like for them, with the Texas recruiting that is kind of their thing, because they don't recruit a lot of the same players that the rest of the SEC recruits. They can dip into Texas more.
Right.
So it would, for their own sake, it makes it better for them to move to the Big 12, where there's a little bit more parity in the conference. They're immediately better than like Kansas and, Kansas, but their ceiling in the Big 12 is higher than their ceiling in the SEC. So it's better for them. Makes sense. Same thing. I agree. Same thing with Missouri.
Yeah.
And also geographically, I mean Missouri more than. Arkansas, Texas A&M still kind of at times feel like SEC teams a little bit. Missouri just still does not feel like an SEC team.
It's super out of place. And the thing with Missouri is that they're in a weird spot in the country. They're smack in the middle where, yes, technically they could be in the SEC. Geographically, SEC, they could be Big 10. They could be Big 12. You can't really pinpoint a specific conference association with them as a school. I mean, the closest thing would be the Big 12 because that's what
they were before.
They were in for a couple decades before they came to the SEC. But, I mean, putting them in the Big 10 makes the same amount of sense to me. Like, I get it. I mean,
additionally, in the Big 10, I wanted to just drop Rutgers down a level, but I was nice and didn't do that. My final...
I wasn't.
The change that I'm most happy about is in the SEC.
Ooh.
And this is a wild one. So, in the SEC, all the teams are the same except for aforementioned. Departures are Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas A&M and South Carolina. That's 4. And they've added Georgia Tech, and they lost 2 spots, so they're only down to 12 teams now, which I don't think is a big deal for the SEC.
Okay.
And the final team that they added, you ready? Is the West Virginia Mountaineers.
You threw West Virginia
I
in
threw
the SEC?
West Virginia in the SEC, which is not Southeastern at all,
my.
but like...
No,
but culturally, I think that West Virginia fits the SEC, more than any other conference.
As someone who lived in Morgantown for a couple months, it does give me SEC town vibes.
I mean,
I can see that. Everything revolves around the university.
Take me home, country roads, like...
Oh, man, I wish I would have done this. That's genius, Tyler.
Yeah, that was one I was supposed to...
If we're going to have Missouri all the way out there, we might
It makes just as much sense.
It makes just as much sense.
Just move Auburn over to the... Oh, wait, no, you don't even need to do that.
No, you don't need to do that.
But, yeah, it's more of just, like, I think culturally it fits better. I don't know what the ceiling for West Virginia is in the Southeast Conference. Probably not very high. But
I think it's higher than Arkansas.
I would agree.
But lower. I think it's higher than Arkansas, but it's, you know what? They're Mississippi State.
Yeah,
they're the East Mississippi State.
Here's the thing. I mean, they already don't fit in the Big 12. They are such a weird... They're just like Missouri, because they're all the way in like the northeast-ish area, but they're not a Big 10 school.
See, I would argue that West Virginia is probably a Big 10 school.
I mean, yeah.
If we're like stripping schools of their current conferences and just saying an identity as a school, they fit the SEC mold, but they're more of a Big 10 school.
Yeah.
They're essentially Penn State, a state over.
You're absolutely right. And that's the thing.
Like,
well, I considered adding them to the Big 10, but I was kind of like, Big 10 kind of already has a Penn State. And, I mean, I almost did it. But I just think it'd be interesting to... I mean, it already takes it's already a million miles for Big 12 schools to get there.
Yeah.
I don't think it wouldn't be as hard. Like, it's right next to Kentucky. Right next to Tennessee, and I'm that's the one that it all revolves around. I didn't get too crazy. Additionally, I would have added from the lower levels. I think I would have added UCF to the SEC.
Okay.
Just because.
Just throw them in there.
Do it. Just to do it. Like I used to not do it, and then I was like, I just want to see what it's like. I just want to, because it's gonna suck for the first 3 years, and then I'll be fine. Like,
yeah.
As a Florida fan, I shouldn't want that, but
no, you shouldn't, because that's SEC recruiting ground.
Yeah, and then I wanted to add App State to. I wanted to add App State to either the SEC or the ACC, but
Tyler, I feel like everything that I did is just things you wanted to do.
Yeah. I was a little reserved. I mean, not the West Virginia thing was weird, but like, because I was like, I don't want to blow these conferences up necessarily, but I want to restructure for what's better for the teams that I'm moving. And I think
I blew it up, and I kind of I'm in the middle there. I'm in the middle.
I mean, if I really wanted to be crazy, I would just blow up the Big 12 and add the Oklahoma schools in Texas to the SEC.
Galaxy brain.
Yeah, I thought of that. It's just like, what if I get rid of all the terrible schools and then just add Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and to with.
What if I make a Power 2?
Add Clemson to the Big 10.
Dissolve the Big 10 West.
No, we're all independents now. Retroactively, I've added Notre Dame to the ACC because
well done.
I'm thinking for them.
Well done, Tyler.
Here, I got a better idea. On even years during the ACC and on odd years during the Big 10.
I love this. Okay. Anything else you want to say, Tyler? Or has everything else pretty much?
No, I want to see yours. It's not mine's not the craziest, but I want to see what yours is.
All right, Tyler. So now it is time for my realignment. Now here's some general rules. Okay.
Okay.
Throw out the Power 5. Say hello to the Power 6.
Oh boy.
Yep. You already know where this is going. So I have included the American.
I already like it more.
I've included the American, and I included the American because I wanted this specific thing. I wanted 12 teams per conference, 2 divisions, neutral site title game. Everyone plays 8 conference games. Your 5 division opponents, 3 cross divisions, and you rotate every 2 years. So that way, you play every single team in your conference, regardless of division, at least twice in your 4 years. And if you're declaring after your junior year, you play everyone at least once. Whether it's home or away, you don't know. So that way, the idea is you play everyone twice in a 4-year span, and you get to play them home and away. Boom.
I like that.
You play 4 non-conference games, so you still get your 4. And independents do not exist, with the exception of the U.S. military academies. They are the exception.
Okay.
So Army, Navy, Air Force, they are allowed to be independents. Everyone else must be in a conference, whether it's at the Power 6 level or the Group of 4 level.
I should have added BYU to the Pac-12. What was I thinking?
Tyler, get with it, buddy. All right,
Such an
so
idiot.
I've also, just for funsies, renamed each division.
Yes.
So in the ACC, we have the I-95 division, and we have the US-1 division. These are fun.
We're already off to a great start.
Thank you, Tyler.
See, I can already tell that, like, mine was like, we'll just change a couple things here and there, and yours are like, blow it up.
Blow it up. All right. In the I-95 division, you have Boston College.
Okay.
Maryland, who belongs in the ACC.
That's very true.
I don't know why they went to the big... Well, I know why. Money. But they should have stayed in the ACC. You then have Virginia and Virginia Tech. And the recent additions to the ACC, you have Notre Dame. And I left them there because they already have the agreement where they play the schedule. All of their other sports are in the ACC. I just think it's if Notre Dame is going to join a conference one day, it's going to be the ACC. So I threw them in there. Whatever. And you have UCF.
Okay.
I threw UCF in the ACC.
UCF versus Notre Dame for the
UCF versus
title.
Notre Dame for the division. You got it, my friend.
Okay.
In the US1 division, you have Clemson. You have South Carolina, which I threw in there. You have Duke, North Carolina, North Carolina State, and everyone say hello and welcome to the newest member of the Athletic Coastal Conference, Appalachian State, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, App State. This is what I call also, the nickname is the Carolinas, because you have the 2 South Carolina schools and 4 North Carolina schools.
Oh, definitely.
Boom.
The Carolina division.
The Carolina division, yeah. But it's not as fun as I-95 and US1, because they both go up the side.
Absolutely.
So that's your ACC. Changes from the ACC. You'll notice there's no Florida State. There's no Georgia Tech. There's no Louisville. There's no Miami. There's no Syracuse. And most importantly, there's no Pitt.
Jeez.
We'll get to those schools in a bit, Tyler.
What the? You're off the rails.
I told you, man. I told you. Let's go to the Big Ten, Tyler, where the divisions have been renamed the wheat and barley divisions. Thank you. In the wheat division, it was gonna be lakes and wheat, because like around the Great Lakes. But my dad said you should name it wheat and barley, and I was like, genius, Dad. All right, wheat division: Ohio State, Michigan State, Purdue, 4 teams that are already in the conference.
Yeah.
The new additions: you have Memphis. Yes, you do. You just got to go up the Mississippi and over to the right a bit. That's all you got to do. You got Memphis in there. And just to have a little, just a little bit of fun, I'm going to take another team from Ohio. I'm going to put the Cincinnati Bearcats in the wheat division.
That one makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Memphis?
Yup. I put Memphis in there. I think Memphis, while the style of play that they play right now doesn't fit the Big Ten, I feel like they could set up a revolution in the Big Ten.
Yeah, with the recruiting area in Memphis, like
exactly, that's a foot in Tennessee. That's a foot in Tennessee for recruiting and stuff. Even though schools like Ohio State and Michigan don't really, they're national recruiting anyway. But like, you put Memphis in there, then maybe Michigan State goes in there, maybe Purdue goes into Tennessee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, in the barley division, teams that stayed in the Big Ten, you have Penn State.
Cool.
You have Iowa. you have Indiana, and then I moved Wisconsin and Minnesota over to be in the same conference division as Penn State to give. Even though I took Penn State out of Ohio State and Michigan, I then gave them Wisconsin and Minnesota. I felt like that would be a good balance.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But, so Penn State, Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the last team, the new member, Tyler, it's time to party like a rock star.
Oh, yeah.
It's Iowa State.
Oh, yes. Iowa State.
Iowa and Iowa State deserve to be in a conference together because
Absolutely.
instead of playing week 1 or whatever they play, they should play at Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
So I just felt it was best.
We deserve this.
Best for everyone.
We deserve this.
You'll notice teams that are not in there. Illinois. Sorry.
Rip.
Sorry. Northwestern. Sorry, guys.
I imagine they don't care.
I don't think they care either. Rutgers. I know you created college football, but
it's fine.
It's time. It's time, my friends. So those teams are now gone. So that is the Big 10. The Big 12, Tyler, we have the Cowboys and the Farmers divisions. In the Cowboy division, which might be my favorite division in this realignment.
Oh, boy.
You have Oklahoma.
Nice.
You have Oklahoma State. You have Texas.
Cool.
Those are the 3 that are from the Big 12.
Oh,
Your brand new additions to the Big 12. Welcome Texas A&M. Welcome back home where you belong.
Yep.
Welcome Colorado. Colorado gets that rivalry with Oklahoma again. And you know what, Tyler? I loved watching that Colorado-Nebraska game so much last year. I decided to throw Nebraska in there as well.
Oh my God! Nebraska's gonna hate this.
They're gonna hate this, but it's where they belong, Tyler.
I mean, it's where they belong, but it's like Nebraska comes in and is at best the 5th best program in that.
Fighting with Oklahoma State.
Fighting with Colorado.
I don't know. I think Colorado and Oklahoma State are kind of on the same playing field right now.
I would disagree, but
Okay.
Colorado's had like 1 10-win season in the last 20 years.
That's true. That's very true.
Colorado and Nebraska are very similar, where they were kings of college football way back when, and now they're not. Which is why the rivalry is so fun. But I like it.
So that's probably my favorite.
It'd be very interesting. I'd love to watch it. I would watch the heck out of that.
This is like appointment television. I think every week.
Oh,
there's a good game in this conference every single week. Yeah. So love that. In the Farmers division, you get Kansas, Kansas State, Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech, which remain in there. And the new addition, I threw Houston in here.
I like it.
I think Houston can probably compete right now, and by compete I mean bowl eligibility.
Houston's like TCU when they joined. I feel like they will be able to naturalize to the conference.
It's just ripe for the pickings. They just need some time.
Yeah, they have already gotten a consent. Houston was the first ever Group of 5 team to get a consensus 5-star at Oliver to come to campus.
Yep, exactly. So they can do it.
They've done it as a Group of 5 team.
Yeah. They can do it down there, and there's really no college football presence in Power 5 college football presence in Houston, so they can be that foot point. So that's the Big 12. You'll notice Big 12 teams that aren't in here: Iowa State, but we threw them in the Big 10, and then West Virginia, which we will talk about later on. The Pac-12, Tyler, let's head out west. We have the Mountains Division and the Beaches Division.
Nice.
In the Mountains Division, you have Oregon, Oregon State, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and a long overdue welcome to the Boise State Broncos.
Yeah,
to the Pac-12.
They deserve it.
They need it. They deserve it. They've proved it. They deserve to be in that power conference, even though, given with this 6 power conference proposal that I'm giving, they could have been thrown into the American and still would have been looked at as an improvement. But I think they're a Pac-12 team. I think they deserve it. Under one condition, Tyler. They changed the blue field. I'm not watching.
I hate it. Throw it away. Throw it away. No, absolutely not. It's Boise State. They have to wear the blue field.
It's atrocious.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's
ugly.
Have
we? No, this is no, absolutely not. I say this as a person that doesn't watch a lot of Boise State football.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me because it's the novelty has yet to wear off.
Tyler, if we went to Boise State by sophomore year, we would have been like, oh my god, this field. I guarantee you.
It's a freaking field. It's like watching football being played in water.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's the Pac-12 mountains. The Pac-12 beaches, Tyler, is the first conference that I didn't change. Meaning, well, I rearranged North and South, but these are all Pac-12
new team. There's no new team in your division.
Right. You have
See,
Cal.
it's hard to add teams to the Pac-12.
You're right.
Boise's the only one that you could promote up.
And all I did was move Colorado out.
Yeah. It's like they're just on the other side of the country.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult.
You could have added Wyoming, but
But I don't even think Wyoming.
Nah.
Like, I don't need to Wyoming. I thought Colorado State as well.
Just for people in 10 years to call Josh Allen a Pac-12 quarterback.
For Josh Allen to call himself a Pac-12 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah. After on his fourth team, he's saying, I'm a Pac-12 quarterback. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
All right, the Beaches division, it's all Pac-12 teams from before. Cal, USC, UCLA, Washington State, and Stanford. It works.
Oregon was in the Mountain Division, right?
Oregon is in the Mountain Division, yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Oregon's in the Mountain Division, yes. But that's the thing, though. They cross-play each other. So, like, I know Oregon and Washington is a fun game each year, but they're going to play each other every 2 years. So it's not like you're missing too much.
You got to be willing to. With realignment, some things just end.
Yeah, you have to. You have to give.
But like playing each other every 2 years almost might be better.
Yeah.
Because it builds the anticipation.
Exactly, and you only get one home game against that team if you stay for your 4 years.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
And it guarantees that, for fans, for students, right? It guarantees that you're gonna get to see, at least once, the other team come to your stadium. From the
I like
division.
that.
So, like, as a Florida fan, we would guarantee at least one of those Auburn games from last year. At home.
That I would appreciate that because there's like the SEC scheduling is terrible because like their cross-division scheduling is terrible because it's like Texas A&M has been in the conference since 2012 and University of Georgia has still yet to play at Kyle Field.
Yeah, well, but it's a thing where they only did it because Auburn and Georgia were in separate conferences.
Yeah,
it's one of the oldest games in college football history, and that's the only reason that they kept the permanent. Cross divisions. It breeds new rivalries. Like we play LSU, which is fun. But like, I would much rather play LSU every other year and then get a chance to play Bama and Auburn and Ole Miss. You know what I mean? So
a little bit more variety.
A little more variety, exactly. So that is Pac-12. Tyler, let's come home to the SEC.
Country roads take me home.
Where we have the Mason and the Dixon conferences divisions.
I cannot believe you.
Come on, it was too easy.
No.
Too easy.
Just
the
say
Mason and the Dixon.
Just say the teams.
In the Mason division, you have Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. 4 teams that are still
Mason division champions, Georgia. Both of us.
Oh man. Anyway, it works. It works. So I kept those because you got to keep Florida, Georgia. You got to keep Florida. I did this selfishly thinking of the Florida rivalries.
Yeah.
Like, didn't care for if Georgia loved playing South Carolina every year. Didn't care.
Don't care.
Yeah, I kept it for the big rivalries in the division, which Florida is a part of them. So Florida, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky. I kind of took them out and put them back in. I had a hole in this spot thinking of another team that I could put in, but I decided to just keep Kentucky in there because Mark Stoops is on the come up. He's got a year, 2 years more there max before he takes a quote-unquote bigger job because he's not going to be able to break through past Florida and Georgia. He's basically fighting with Tennessee for third in the division.
Yeah.
So I kept him in there just to keep it fun there. And the new additions from the ACC, Georgia Tech and Louisville. Welcome.
Louisville's an SEC team now.
I put Louisville in the SEC because I love that Kentucky-Louisville rivalry.
Yeah.
And open your third eye. You think basketball? The Kentucky-Louisville rivalry?
Ooh.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I like that. I like that a lot.
You gotta think beyond the football field.
You gotta think bigger picture.
You gotta think bigger picture. Yeah. So that's the Mason division. And the Dixon division, again, is essentially the
The
SEC West, except I threw Vandy in there. So it's Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, and Vandy because I took Arkansas out.
Vanderbilt is...
Vanderbilt. And I kept Vandy.
Poor Vandy.
Tyler, I kept Vandy strictly because they are a founding member of the SEC.
Yeah.
And that baseball team, though.
That baseball team.
So, keeping it afloat.
Yeah,
keeping
absolutely.
it afloat. So, that's the SEC. You'll notice, Tyler, that Arkansas and Missouri are missing.
I mean, and Texas A&M, but...
And Texas A&M. But they went to the Big 12. And that brings me to the American Conference, Tyler.
I'm excited for this now because you've changed things.
I've changed everything. I've changed everything about this conference. The Americans divisions are the planes and trains divisions. Because in order to get across the country, you go planes, trains, and automobiles. Hold your applause, Tyler. Hold your applause.
I don't even have words for that. Like,
are you not entertained?
I'm ecstatic. Like, planes division champs. Like,
and here come the train division champions. Choo choo. The Thomas the Tank train division champion.
Oh yeah! Oh my god.
Oh man. Okay.
I need to see this.
All right, the planes division. You got Miami and FSU.
Okay.
Got to keep those two together. You have what?
You moved to the American.
Tyler, in this situation, the American is power conference. Come on, man.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Miami, FSU, Temple, Syracuse, SMU.
Okay.
And the Lord's team, the Pitt Panthers.
Pitt.
Listen, you get
Pitt belongs here so hard.
Pitt belongs here so hard. Listen, you have Miami and FSU take Florida, right?
Okay.
Temple is your Philadelphia. SMU is Dallas.
Yeah.
Syracuse is supposed to be New York State team, right? Throw them up there. Say, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
And then you get Pitt, who's Pitt.
It's Pitt.
And you get a Temple-Pitt rivalry.
That'd be cool.
Temple-Pitt rivalry.
That'd be cool.
That is within the state of Pennsylvania.
And it's played in either... The funny thing is that it's played in... Pitt plays in the Pittsburgh Stadium, Steelers Stadium, and Temple plays in the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium.
So you're essentially getting...
It's just going to be an NFL rivalry.
You're just essentially getting Eagles against the Steelers.
Eagles-Steelers every year.
Single year.
Oh my God.
It's great. All right, so that's the Plains division. The Trains division. I got Missouri and Arkansas. Keep them in there. I have Marshall.
Interesting.
I have West Virginia.
They fit in these teams.
They fit. I have Wake Forest.
Okay.
And I had to do it to him, Tyler. I had to throw FAU in the mix. You knew I was gonna slip the homerism in there.
There it is.
So
that's what you needed.
That's what I needed. In the Trains division, you got FAU takes South Florida.
I actually love the Trains division. I'm not gonna lie. I love it.
Marshall, West Virginia. That's a West Virginia brawl, right? That's a literal backyard brawl. Not only, we also get the renewal of Pitt, West Virginia every 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is a rivalry that I think is perfect to be played every 2 years because that hatred sits there and ferments. Listen, Pitt, West Virginia, not many people realize how big of a rivalry it is.
It's pretty big.
But it is the Coal Miners Iron Bowl.
That is, we need to trademark that.
It's the Coal Miners Iron Bowl.
The Coal Miners Iron Bowl. The
Coal
Bowl.
Imagine the Coal Bowl. So imagine if Alabama and Auburn played every 2 years. Could you imagine the anxiety,
I don't know
the tension?
Oh yeah, I have Auburn and Alabama fans, and I don't know if they could. Whenever they lose that game,
yeah,
it like consumes them
for months.
Like,
imagine not getting a shot to win it again the next year. They have to wait.
Imagine the bragging rights. Ooh. Imagine if that happened now when Bo Nix and Gus Malzahn won, and they don't get to play for another 2 years.
Oh.
So, Auburn just gets to lord that over.
Just every time you see a Bama fan, you just say, "Hey, how about that field goal?" Now, here's one thing that I thought of, Tyler. I was thinking of switching Syracuse and West Virginia. So Syracuse would be in that Trains division with Missouri, Arkansas, Wake Forest, Marshall, and FAU. And West Virginia would be in the Plains division where they would play Pitt every year.
Yeah.
But I think I wanted it to be flipped because I would rather create the in-state Marshall, West Virginia every year.
Yeah.
Because I know that Pitt, West Virginia is going to be hatred regardless.
Yeah.
And it might be more fun to have it played every 2 years,
You might benefit from that. Yeah.
Yeah, you might benefit from that. So that's my American, and that's my conference realignment. Tyler, you'll notice some teams didn't make it into the Power Six, such as Illinois, such as Northwestern, such as Rutgers, such as USF, such as Tulane.
Rip.
You may have noticed that, and those teams will end up in Conference USA or the Sun Belt because the MAC will not be touched. That's another thing I should have said. No one touched the MAC. It is perfect the way it is.
All the teams are the same.
Tuesday night action. No one's touching the MAC. Have fun, MAC. Do your thing. We love you. But yeah, they would end up in either Conference USA. That some teams were pulled from here. There were a couple teams pulled from the Sun Belt, or a team pulled from the Sun Belt. I was trying to find a way to get Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, in here.
Yeah.
But I just didn't see it came down
That's
to
just
it.
Hard.
The two Sun Belt teams that I think are deserved are App State and Louisiana. But I think if I had to choose one, App State has done it for longer and has been more consistent.
App State's the one.
App State's the one. Yeah. And I thought about Georgia State, which one's in Atlanta? Georgia State.
Georgia State is in Atlanta.
Georgia State, yeah. I was thinking about throwing Georgia State in there, but then I realized that by throwing Georgia Tech in the SEC, you essentially just, if there was another
if you try to put two power six schools in Atlanta,
it's not
Georgia. Work. I mean, it's Georgia Tech, yeah, but they've got a foothold.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So
and Atlanta in that area is already so pressed for talent, like
exactly, and so I figured it would just be best to leave them in the SEC, and have them do their thing as a lower level FBS team. So, yeah,
I love yours.
Thanks, man. I put a lot of thought to it.
I'm gonna go restructure a NCAA football
a save with these conferences
to be this. We know what you should have done.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I'll say,
notes. Yes, give me notes.
Is that I love the for the Big 12. I would have done it like this. I would have done a Texas division and a Southern division, where like put all of the Texas schools in one division, and then just every other school in the other division.
See, now that is I get it, and that is a Raul Rivera school of thought. That like you went to the school of Raul on that one, because he is a full proponent of conferences being more as states. Like, he would put all the Florida teams in one conference.
Which I get. I don't agree with, but I get.
Exactly. And here's my thing, because being someone that has the OU-Texas rivalry so close,
it's hard to give that up.
It's hard to give that up. It's really difficult to give that up. And, yeah, you would create, Texas A&M would be created again. But I can guarantee you, if you put Oklahoma in a conference without Texas A&M, it really becomes essentially...
They'll be mad.
It becomes the ACC Atlantic or whatever, whichever one Clemson's in. It becomes that conference.
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
so
one-sided.
True.
And I didn't want that. For the sake of my conferences, I didn't want that. So I had to play around a little bit. I did a pretty good job, I think, I'm surprised I got the Carolinas in there and it getting pretty evened out with the ACC US 1 division, where it essentially has 4 North Carolina teams and then the 2 South Carolina teams.
The other thing is that there's no competitive balance in the ACC now. I mean, there isn't now, but...
I would argue. Look at the I-95 conference. Boston College,
I don't have it in front of me, Sergio.
No, I got you. Boston College, Maryland, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, UCF. Off the bat, you're going to say Notre Dame is the front runner.
Notre Dame was in there.
But Maryland back in the ACC, they've been recruiting pretty well. They can get that turned around. Virginia and Virginia Tech should be good football teams. They should be good football teams.
That's true.
They were good football teams at once, they should be good football teams again. Bronco Mendenhall is going to have that Virginia team turning around good. And Virginia Tech under Beamer was phenomenal. They should be able to get back to that point.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card here is UCF, removed from everywhere else, all the way down to Orlando. Maybe they can do some kind of cooking, like we're just going to do our thing here. First 2 years maybe a little bit harder than we thought, but I think they can kind of push it and get it after a few years.
Yeah. See, my only that was my thought process is the thing where it's like, originally in the ACC you have Clemson, leave their own, and then the only two schools that I think can really compete with Clemson for like national power would be FSU and Miami. Maybe Virginia Tech
in the ACC.
In the ACC, yeah. Well, my thing is that you took two of those away to add one in Notre Dame. However, I say that I'm like Miami hasn't done anything in like years.
Yeah.
And you put in UCF, which
has the potential.
We don't know, but has the potential. So looking back on it, it is a little bit more balanced. Also, having Notre Dame in there makes me feel better about it. So
also, if South Carolina, since I put them in there,
I forgot you put South Carolina in there.
The ceiling for South Carolina, like you said, is higher in the ACC.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that team is going to magically improve to be a 9-win team, but if they're
more
playing,
possible for them to get to 9 wins.
If they're playing Duke, NC State, cross division with Boston College, and maybe Maryland right now in their low point and stuff, they're going to win more football games. So they're going to be perceived as a better team, and I think they'll be a better team because when you start winning, you create that culture of winning. Therefore, you get better and better and better. You can get better recruits, all that stuff. So I think throwing South Carolina in that same division as Clemson is going to work out well, especially in recruiting down there. Because right now, South Carolina's like, oh, you'll get to play in the SEC. But it's like, great, I can play in the SEC and get my butt whipped by Georgia, Florida, and Alabama when they play cross rivalry. Or I can go to Clemson in the ACC where I know I'm competing for a national championship simply because I can dominate the ACC. That's a good point. I think overall, it's addition by subtraction for the ACC here. You're subtracting Miami and Florida State, but you're improving the overall quality of the conference.
It's very interesting. I mean, I expect early on in the American for FSU and Miami to, maybe not like if they went today, but like conventional wisdom would make you think that FSU and Miami would run that conference for a little while. Yeah,
I think so as well. And now, they're both in the same division, and that's just because I know for a fact they have to play every year. So, yeah, I think they would dominate that division. The Trains division is wide open. Missouri, Arkansas, Wake Forest, Marshall, FAU, West Virginia. As of right now,
who would win that this year?
Okay, are we talking this past season that went through, or this
No,
next
this
season?
upcoming season. Well, this past season it's FAU.
Wait for it.
But
Jamie Newman and Wake Forest.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be FAU.
It would be Wake Forest.
It would be FAU Wake Forest at the top, and it would just depend on that game.
But like going into this season, who would win it this season? You've got FAU's breaking a new coach. Wake Forest is Wake Forest,
and they lost Jamie Newman.
Yeah. They've got
Marshall's always competitive at Conference USA level, and they give FAU some trouble. So just by the mere fact that FAU is in that division,
West Virginia's working it out with Neil Brown. Like I just don't know how good they'll be this year.
Are we rolling the dice with a first-year Missouri head coach?
I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Like,
because we also have to remember Willie Taggart is the head coach at FAU now.
Yeah, it's what I'm not picking FAU.
Yeah,
like
I'm not picking FAU. I'm not picking Marshall. No, I mean me too. I mean, sorry, like, I'm not picking FAU. I'm not picking Marshall this year. They can win the.
I mean, Arkansas has Felipe Franks, which means nothing to me.
Zero
for this. Yeah. It's still Arkansas. Like,
really? Arkansas lost to like.
Well, I said it's still Arkansas, as in.
Oh, okay.
It's bad.
I thought you meant Arkansas is winning this conference. Like, what?
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. Like, I mean, the highest potential. Okay, the highest mystery potential is first-year coach
Missouri.
Eli Drinkwitz with Missouri, or whatever Neil Brown's doing at West Virginia, because they were better this last season than I think they should have been. Mm-hmm. But I still don't know how good they'll be.
Honestly, I think it comes down to Neil Brown at West Virginia and FAU because FAU is returning a lot of talent.
That's true.
And a starting quarterback that was a 4-star recruit that was at Oklahoma and was supposed to be the Baker successor. Chris Roberson.
Good, so.
He's really good. Yeah, I would probably, at this point, it would depend on the FAU West Virginia game.
What a sentence.
I know, right?
What a sentence.
It depends on the winner of the division is dependent upon the FAU West Virginia game. Ooh. I
want a Florida West Virginia rivalry.
Really?
Well, like if West Virginia joined the SEC, like in my group thing,
that'd be a fun one.
It'd be Tennessee and West Virginia played like 2 years ago. Like
that's true.
We'd be doing that every year. Florida's going up to Morgantown. West Virginia's coming down to Florida. Like,
listen, if Florida goes up to Morgantown, we have to go.
Oh yeah.
Tyler, that is a college town.
We're going,
dude. Oh man. Oh, I love this exercise that we did.
I'm happy now.
I'm happy with both of ours. Look at this, Tyler. Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not I.
Oh man, Tyler. Hey, let's wrap this show up with tweets we've shared.
Okay.
What do you think?
I support it.
Oh, let's do it.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
Favorite tweet you sent me? Well, it's just one that we think is tweet by Stuart Mandel. I can't speak. It's about. It says Ohio State and Alabama announce a home and home series for 2027 to 2028. Pretty impressive list of upcoming Buckeyes opponents. Upcoming Power 5 series for the Buckeyes. I'll read it off to you. 2020 at Oregon. 2021 Oregon at home. 2022 Notre Dame at home. 2023 at Notre Dame. 2024 at Washington. 2025 at Texas. 2025 Washington at home. 2026 Texas at home. 2027 Alabama at home. 2028 at Alabama. 2030 at Georgia. And 2031 Georgia at home. First of all, why are we scheduling games 11 years in the future? But
for the same reason that apparently we have a home and home with Utah or Texas in 2030 and 2031.
I remember when I was just like, I will be in my 30s.
I likely will have a child. I might have a child.
That's crazy to think about.
I know.
But
it's crazy.
I mean, this is pretty impressive. I'm just like kind of salivating over being able to watch all these games in the future one day.
I know.
Ohio State's going to win like 80% of them, but
yeah. Well, the Bama game's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's just see. They'll win both the Oregon games.
Agreed.
The next 2 years. They'll beat Notre Dame in 2021.
Agreed.
At Notre Dame, they'll beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
Georgia beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame. I think Ohio State's beating them.
Yeah. So when we get to 2024, we get to like, are we in all the same coaching staffs? Like, what's the deal?
Right.
They'll probably win at Washington. I'll just be devil's advocate and say they'll lose at Texas because Texas will be back. They'll win Washington at home. They'll win Texas at home. They'll split the Alabama series. They'll sweep Georgia because Georgia sucks. I have absolutely no clue because can you just in 11 years? Can you imagine how different college football will be?
Well, let's look back.
Nick
to
Saban will have retired.
It's 2000. It's 2020. Let's look back to 2009. Florida was at its peak with Meyer right after the 2008 game.
Nick Saban had been at Alabama for 1 year.
Wasn't West Virginia like a top 10 team?
Yeah.
Coming out of 2007 and then maintained that for a couple of years.
USC was still good. They were about to get hit with the sanctions. Oregon hadn't even been to a national title yet.
No, TCU wasn't TCU.
Yeah. Wow.
So many things can change, Tyler. So many things can change. And that is one of the beautiful things of college football. The turnover, the change, the struggle for athletic directors and coaches to keep things the same, even though they know it can't stay that way.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. What's your tweet?
All right, my tweet is actually, I'm going to go ahead and cheat here. It's actually a tweet from friend of the pod, Michael Phillips.
That's fine.
We have a group chat with the three of us where we share all of our tweets. It is by Seth Galena at PFF_Seth. And it says, therapist. And what do we do when we are sad? Me. Call 4 verts. Therapist. No. And I'd have to agree with Seth here. You call 4 verts.
You call 4 verts.
Yeah, you call 4 verts.
What's wrong with that? It's completely normal coping
that.
mechanism.
That is the healthiest of coping mechanisms, especially if you score
4 verts.
All the way.
Therapist ain't played nobody.
I think Seth Galena is actually Mike Leach's burner account.
That's a take.
That's definitely a take.
That's okay. Wow. I mean, I'm about to go hop on NCAA football and just call a bunch of 4 verts now.
That's it. Just run it. Just run it up. Run it up.
No, when you're building a team in NCAA football, here's what you got to do. Mm-hmm. Literally, just invest in your offensive line. That's it.
Correct.
Like, invest in a pass protecting offensive line. Then call 4 verts every play.
That's all you got to do, baby.
And you might get sacked sometimes, but if they can give you some protection, by the way, don't let your back. Just make your back pass protect. Don't make him go out of the backfield. It's a waste of time.
See, I'm just the opposite, dude. Like, I am such a run the football. I'm such a West Coast offense.
I'm joking, but like...
No, I know, but I know you love the air raid. And
yeah.
I like, the air raid is fun to watch, but if I'm going to play the game and I'm going to run an offense, like, we are West Coast.
Yeah.
The 49ers in the 80s, like, let's play.
In the game, I used the Mississippi State, like, spread system in the sense of... It is, in the way that the game's structured, it is pretty pass heavy, but I like to keep it really balanced. Mm-hmm. I build my team when I'm doing Dynasty. I try to build heavy offensive line, like, because regardless passing or running, it's good to have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
The thing I try to let my plays build off of each other. I try to run the ball, but oftentimes I just find myself getting sucked into the lull of passing.
Ugh.
And I run a lot of, in classic air raid, I run a lot of 2-back sets where I make them both catch balls out of the backfield.
I love a pass catching running back. I love a pass catching running back. I also love a pass catching tight end. Like, that is like my highest. That is like one of my favorite.
It's hard to defend, man.
I know, it's difficult, and that's the best part.
Yeah.
Oh, man, love it. Tyler, what a great episode we had today.
That was fun.
What a fantastical episode that we had today. Next week, we will be back. These are the summer episodes of Sideline Judgment. We are literally waiting for the Athlon to drop so that we can go ahead and dive into these previews and officially begin Season 4 of the podcast.
Yes.
We are here on Season 3.
Season 4.
Season 4, baby. Tyler, is there anything else that you want to say before we take off?
Nothing much. Just... everybody stay safe out there. Wear your masks. Wash your hands.
Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Be safe.
We want people to be safe.
Yes.
But have fun. Be responsible. Drink water.
Yes. Hydrate, please. It's hot
out here. What was the other thing? Call 4 verts.
And call 4 verts. That's exactly what you should do. Only after you spend 6 plays earlier running a draw, so that way they're not expecting it. But that's just.
So what I do is you gotta immediately, as soon as you take the snap, you gotta press the pump fake button.
So they bite?
And draw the safeties in and then just chuck it. So
Tyler, those NCAA 14 tips are free, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to charge Tyler for them. You don't have to pay him for that. Oh man, this has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we're not biased, but go Gators.
Go Gators.